box. He's teaching the game design merit badge, and he's also helping a lot with the first year camper program. So Andrew, take it away.
All right, hello everyone. My name is Andrew Check, and we're going to learn about a lot of fun knots. There's going to be a couple slip knots in there, and a few others. Now, the really cool part is I get to change my video, and you get to see my table, which allows me to do all my knots right in front of you. So, if you have your rope, I would go grab that now. So I'll wait. I'll give you guys a second. You guys can go grab your rope. I have my rope right here. All right, I'm seeing that a lot of you are all coming back and you all have your rope. So I'm going to get started. So first, we're going to start very basic. We're going to start with the square knot. The overhand knot. Very basic. We're going to start with the overhand knot. So you want to do is pick an end. I'm going to pick this end of my rope here. Just adjust my camera for a second. All right, so I'm going to pick my end right here. You're going to make a loop. Make a nice loop. Go right through it and pull. And that is your overhand knot. One more time around. I have my rope here. I'm going to make my loop. And then I'm going to go right through that hole. And that is your overhand knot. Let's see how everyone else is doing. All right, I'm seeing a lot of good overhand knots. Nice to see. All right, good job, everyone. All right, now we're just going to take this apart.
And I just want to reiterate something for everyone that we've said several times before at other demonstrations. These skills you need to continue to practice. And if you don't get them on your first try, that's okay. I'm still bad at knots today, and I need to practice a lot to make sure I remember how to tie them myself. But I'm going to let Andrew continue now.
Yes, these take practice. I remember when I was a Cub Scout, I could not tie these. But when I joined Scouts BSA, something finally just clicked for me, and I could tie them. So the next knot we're going to tie is the square knot. Now, you normally use the square knot to tie two ropes together, but you can also tie the ends of your rope together. So I have my two ends of the rope here, and my first step is to go right over left. Right over left. I want to tuck under, and then left over right, tuck under, and there I go. That is the square knot. And you can tell because you can move it just like this, and it moves very easily. Now I'm going to do that again. All right, so I have my two ends. I'm going to go right over left. I tuck that under. Then left over right. Tuck under. And there you go. That is the square knot. One thing to notice is that you see on the one end, the ropes are right next to each other. Then on the other end, the ropes are right next to each other. Now, if let's just say what happens is I go the opposite way. Let's just say I went, instead of right over left and left over right, I went right over left and then right over left again. That's what it's going to look like. And you notice that they're not together, they're on opposite ends. It looks kind of weird. So all you have to do is take it out, switch around which one goes. So I can see, just switch around which one's on top and which one's on bottom, and that should fix your problem. All right, how's everybody else doing? All right, I'm seeing lots of thumbs up. I'm seeing a lot of square knots out there too. All right, now I'm going to do a little interesting knot, I think. Now, who doesn't love a good slip knot? All you have to do is tie it, and suddenly you tie it, and you pull, and there you go. The knot's out. So this is the overhand square knot. So I'll show you 2 ways to do this. So first, you're going to take your end, and you have to be extremely careful where you pull this. So you're going to take this end, and you're going to make a loop. Just going to make that loop. And then, like the overhand knot, you're just going to pull that right through, and that would be the overhand knot. But you're not going to do that instead. Instead, you're going to have your loop, and you're going to take the other end, pull that through. So you have your loop, you have that end that you normally put through. You don't want to put that through. You want to leave that there. And then you want to take this end, put it through, and then pull on that loop, and there you go. The thing that makes it the slip knot is this loop in there. It means that you can just pull it right out. So I'll do that again. So we have our loop. We put the other end right here through that loop. We want to pull that end while holding these two. You want to hold that end and the other end, pull that end up to tighten it, and there you go. That is the slip knot. I'll show that one more time for everyone. So, I see a lot of I see slip knots as well from others. You guys are all doing a good job. So you're going to make your loop. I have my loop. And we have this other end here that we traditionally put through, but we're not going to. We're going to leave that there. And we have this end that we're going to put through that loop. And when you tighten this, you want to hold this part and this part. Just pull this loop tight, and there you go. The other way I've seen this done, yep, I'm seeing a lot of good slip knots, is you take it around your fingers, and then you just pull the one end through, and there you go. That's the other way, is that you just wrap it around your fingers, you take the end of this, you just push it through, you want to pull on that loop, and there you go. All right, let's see how everybody else is doing. A lot of good slip knots I'm seeing. And if you don't get it, that's fine. It takes a lot of practice to get it. All right. Now, so if there's an overhand slip knot, there must also be a square knot slip knot. And it might, as you might think, also have a loop in it. So I have my square knot. Here's my loop. All I have to do is pull that. The entire knot comes out. So what's going to happen is you're going to tie the square knot. And make sure to tie correctly, of course. First step is to tie the square knot. And then you want to take one of these ends, one of the top ends, and go right back through. Now, when you do this, you want to be a little careful with this, or it might just come all out. So then you want to tighten it up. And then it'll look something like that. All you gotta do is pull that. So I'll do that a little more. Make sure you have a lot of slack. If you notice, I have a lot of slack here. Make sure you have a lot, because you're going to need all that. So first step is, as always, to tie the square knot. And you can see all the slack I have, which is good. You want lots of slack so you can tie this easier. And then it doesn't really matter which way, which end you take. And then you want to take the top end, these two top ends, and you want to loosen it up just a little bit. I'll take this end this time around. And I want to feed that back through. So I have my square knot. I want to loosen this just a little bit. I want to loosen the top up just a little bit. I want to put this in. And you can see that loop starting to form. And then I just want to tighten by grabbing the bottom, holding that part of it, and there I go. I see this massive loop. And then all I have to do is pull, and there you go. I'll do that one more time for everyone. So I have my two ends. I make a square knot. I have my square knot here. I have lots of slack. And then I want to loosen up one of the top ends. I suggest this one based on it. And if you can't do it, that's fine. It takes lots of practice. You want to loosen that top end, put it back through a little bit. You want to hold that, grab the bottom and tighten it. And then there you go. You just got to pull that, and that is it. Now, these are 4 really cool knots. I'm also going to teach another one, but just to show you how cool some knots are, this is what we call a woggle, or a Turk's head knot. This goes around your neckerchief, and it's really fun to make, and they're really cool. I know I'm wearing that for my neckerchief right now. Or if you've ever seen a monkey's a monkey's fist. So it's a knot that you tie, and it can be used it's pretty much for decorative, or if you need to throw something, it gives a nice hard end and a nice heavy end so you can throw something. Now it's really cool. It has a lot of interesting features. You can see that it goes back and forth, and it just looks really cool. And it also looks really cool if you put it on your uniform. So the next knot I'm going to teach is something called the bowline, or the bowline. I've seen it said both ways. I've heard it said both those ways. Now, this has a really fun story. And I was recently out geocaching, and I saw a snake. So we're going to include the snake in here. So I'm going to have my rope right out here, and I'm going to decide which end is going to move and which end is not going to move. So I'm going to say I have my one end right here, and then I have my other end over here. Let me just adjust the camera just a little bit. Now I'm going to choose this end here to be my non-moving end. You're not going to touch it. It's going to be your tree. This side on is going to be called your tree. Then we're going to have this end, which is going to be moving, and that's called my rabbit. But before that tree becomes a tree, you need to make a loop. Make a nice little loop right there, and that is good. Now, that's going to be my hole. So I have my rabbit. He's going to come out of this hole. Just got to lift it up a little bit. He's going to come out of that hole. So he's going to come out of that hole. He sees a snake, and he just got out of his hole from winter, and he thinks, oh, I'm safe. He sees this massive snake, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to go back in my hole. I don't really want to deal with a snake today. I'll go back in my hole. So what you want to do is take the rope underneath this other rope. You want to go underneath your tree because he's going to go around the tree. And then he's going to go right back to where he feels safe in his hole. Then you just got to pull. When you tighten, make sure to hold these two ends and this. You just got to pull it just really nice, slight. And that is the bowline. You can tell by this distinct loop in the back. And this kind of looks like a 2/2 hitch, if you know what that is. It's an adjustable knot, and this rope will not move. So I'll do that again. I'm going to have my rope. One end is going to be the non-moving end, which I'm going to declare is this end. This is my tree. This end is going to be my moving end, my rabbit. Now I'm going to make a loop. Which is going to become my hole. So this will become my hole. And on this end over here, going that way, is my tree. This end going that way is my rabbit. So my rabbit comes outside the hole. The hole doesn't have to be too big. Make sure it's not too big, because if it's big like this, it could cause you trouble. But if it's too small like this, it could cause you trouble as well. So you want a moderately sized hole. And the rabbit's going to come out of the hole. So he's coming out of the hole. He goes around the tree. He goes underneath the rope over here. And then he goes right back down that hole. And then you just hold these two pieces of the rope, the places where the rabbit went out of his hole. You grab the tree, and then you pull. How's everyone else doing? It's a little difficult, but it is a lot of fun once you learn how to tie it. All right, I'm seeing a lot of good signs. I'm seeing a lot of people have tied it. All right. All right, so that was the bowline. Has that really fun story you might have heard. That's the really fun part about this story, is that it really does help anyone who's trying to learn it, because you can see that and then you'll remember that. I remember I always remembered it, but I could never really learn how to tie it until recently. So if you can't get it now, that's fine. All right. So there's another really fun one I like. It's a knot called the clove hitch. Now, you want to be able to make sure that you can tie it to something. Now, I'm going to go get that. Why don't you guys get something? It can be a chair leg or anything like that. So I see a comment saying that what can the bowline be used for? It can be used to bring someone up. If they fell down, you could use this knot to bring somebody right back up in case they fell. Down in a cliff, you could use that.
Andrew, it appears that you muted yourself, just so you know.
All right. So now that if you have a post, or I know a lot of people like using chair legs. I've seen a lot of that in the first year camper. I see some of you already know it, which is good. So here we go. So we're going to have our two ropes, our two ends of the rope, and we're going to have our post. All right, so we have our post. Now what's going to happen is we are going to wrap this rope around the post. So all we got to do is wrap the rope around the rope. Sorry, I'm looking at the screen and seeing something else. So I wrapped the rope around this post. Then I want to wrap it again. And then you can start to see this X form. And then you want to go just around a little bit more again. And you want to go through that X, through the middle of that X. You want to pull. And there you go. You'll see these two distinct lines of rope and then a cross piece over them. And that's how you'll know that you tied the clove hitch. Now I'll do that about 2 more times. All right. So we have our rope. We're going to go around this post or your chair leg or whatever you might be using. And I'm going to go around another time. And that's how I form the X. Then I'm going to go underneath to get on the other side of that X. And then I'm going to go right in the middle of that X. And I'm going to hold these two ends and pull them both at the same time. You notice that it goes like that. You just want to push them together, pull, make sure that they're always together, and there you go. All right, I'll do that one more time.
La la la.
All right, so I'm going to go put my rope on my post. I'm going to go around my post, go on top, forming the X. Then I'm going to go underneath, and then I'm going to go through. Through it, and there you go. That is the clove hitch. All right, let's see how everybody else is doing. I know I've seen a few already. All right, we're looking good.
So Andrew, I have a question here. What is the clove hitch used for?
So the clove hitch is used, you'll see this a lot once you bridge into Scouts BSA. The clove hitch is used for lashings. Now, lashings are when two poles or pieces of rope. So it's when, if you noticed yesterday with the shelter building, we had our lashing for the tripod lashing. They can be used to bind 3 ropes together using wood, and rope, which allows them to make great structures, such as my troop does a monkey bridge at our town's community day. You can use them for gateways. If you go to a summer camp, you can see them at gateways. They can be used for many different things, such as, if you've ever seen signal towers, those are really cool. I built one once. You can get up there, you can make a bridge with them, you can do tons of things with them.
All right, thank you, Andrew. So I think that's about all the time we have for today. Anything else you want to add on real quick?
No, I do not believe so.
All right, thank you so much for the knot demonstration. For those of you who may have joined late, just so you guys are aware, we were supposed to have the fire truck demonstration today with a guest speaker from the firehouse. Unfortunately, as Mr. Whitaker arrived at the firehouse, our guest speaker was driving away in an ambulance. Not that he was hurt, but he was going to help someone else. So there was a emergency situation there, and that happens. And we are going to get something filmed for it and get it out to you guys, so you still get to experience it. We're sorry it couldn't be live today, but when you're in the emergency service line of work, that happens sometimes. But Andrew was gracious enough to fill in for us on with knots, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So we will see you again at closing today. So have a good day, guys, and bye.
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 Dory, say bye. Bye. Bye.